Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the big news of the day. The topic for today's big news is Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. In this short and crisp analysis, we will understand the larger context of this massacre and the then Indian and British responses to this massacre. We'll also understand the significance of this massacre in the present context. So let's begin. On April 13th, 103 years ago, on 1919, British troops fired at a gathering of unarmed Indians at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. The orders for firing were given by General Reginald Dyer. Several hundreds of protesters were killed in this massacre. Men, women, and even children were killed. Let's understand the larger events that led to this massacre. The British government passed an act called the Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. In 1919, it was popularly known as the Rowlatt Act. This unpopular bill gave sweeping powers to police. The police can now arrest, incarcerate anyone suspected of terrorist activities. Anyone who will be arrested under this act will end up spending time in jail without trial for up to 2 years. This act also gave powers to police to arrest anyone without a warrant and restricted freedom of the press. This brutal act passed in March 1919 was opposed by many Indians. For example, Madan Mohan Malviya and Muhammad Ali Jinnah resigned from the councils. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi called for a peaceful Satyagraha to oppose this act. People joined this Satyagraha in huge numbers. They largely remained peaceful, but in certain places, protests were marred by rioting and violence. Such protests were witnessed in Punjab also. Important Congress leaders like Saifuddin Kichlu and Satyapal were arrested in those protests. So this larger discriminatory act was opposed by the people. Many people in Punjab protested at the residence of Amritsar's Deputy Commissioner on 10th of April. They were shot and killed by the police. The Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, Michael O'Dwyer, imposed a martial law on Punjab. This martial law banned the gathering of people, but April 13 was the day of Baisakhi and many people gathered in Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar to celebrate Baisakhi and also to protest and demand the release of their leaders Saifuddin Kichlu and Satyapal. The Jallianwala Bagh is a public garden. It's enclosed from all the sides. It has only one narrow entrance where people were celebrating Baisakhi, the festival celebrated across Punjab. General Dyer's troops reached the garden at 4:30 p.m., closed the main entrance to the garden, the only entrance it had. It was enclosed on all sides. Then he ordered, "Shoot them." The shooting continued for 10 minutes until the ammunition was nearly exhausted. There was no warning given. The troops shot mercilessly. It created panic among the people. There was a lone well in the Jallianwala Bagh. Some people, out of fear, jumped into this well, hoping that they will save themselves. After the shooting stopped, several hundreds were killed, men, women, and children, and several hundreds lay injured. After the massacre, many Indians opposed it. There was widespread condemnation as it had shocked all the Indians. People saw the naked brutality of the colonial empire. India's important leaders, Rabindranath Tagore, the great poet of India, renounced his knighthood in protest. Likewise, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi gave back his medal Kaiser-i Hind. This brutal act consolidated support to the nationalist movement and pushed it to liberate India from the British rule. The British government responded to this act by establishing a commission called the Hunter Commission to inquire into the massacre and other events in Punjab. It was officially called Disorders Inquiry Committee. It was chaired by Lord Hunter, who was the former Solicitor General for Scotland. General Dyer appeared before the commission in November. He was asked questions, but he showed no regret. The commission found him guilty of a mistaken notion of duty, and he was relieved of his command. He was not imprisoned, or the punishment was very soft. He died in 1927 because of an illness. The Lieutenant Governor O'Dwyer, who had imposed the martial law before this massacre, was assassinated by an Indian Udham Singh. He assassinated him in 1940. Udham Singh said that this killing was a revenge for the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. As a young man, he had witnessed the massacre himself. This brutal massacre is still talked about in India. Today, when this day is being remembered, Indians are demanding that the present British government should apologize for this massacre. Winston Churchill, the former British Prime Minister, had called the massacre as a monstrous act. Queen Elizabeth said it was a distressing act. David Cameron, the former British Prime Minister, described it as a deeply shameful act. Likewise, former British PM David Cameron visited the Jallianwala Bagh in 2013 and voiced his regret over the incident. But the British government has not yet said we are sorry for this massacre. So, in the present context, everyone is demanding that an apology will go a long way. All they have to say is sorry. Expressing regret is not enough. Saying sorry will heal the wounds of many Indians and honor their memory. With this, I would like to end this video by remembering the sacrifice made by Indians during this massacre. I would also like to ask you to remember these Indians who were mercilessly killed during this massacre. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching it. Please like and share this video. Also subscribe to this channel.